Welcome to News 9 and you are watching On Point. In this edition of On Point, we will talk about worsening condition of Manipur in meetings at Amit Shah held in Delhi. But first, headlines. Supreme Court says anti-pollution GAP-4 curbs should remain in force in Delhi NCR till further orders. Home Minister Amit Shah convenes high-level meeting to assess Manipur security situation. 50 additional companies of Central Armed Police Forces to be deployed in the state. After NPP withdraws from the BJP government in Manipur, Conrad Sangma says may support BJP in Manipur again if the leadership is changed. Rahul Gandhi reiterates that Congress will conduct caste census and remove 50% cap on reservation. BJP takes a dig at Rahul Gandhi over his version of "Ek hai to safe hai," calls him Chota Popat. Political heavyweights make a final push to woo voters on the last day of campaigning in Maharashtra, Jharkhand and in by-polls in other states. Prime Minister Modi arrives in Brazil to attend the G20 summit. Kremlin says Biden is throwing oil on the fire by allowing Ukraine to use US missiles inside Russia. India calls out developed countries over stalled progress on climate issues at COP29.
Has been more than a year.
The most unprecedented turmoil.
The situation has further deteriorated.
Killing of innocent civilians.
Manipur is on the boil. Home Minister Amit Shah held a high-level meeting to review the security situation in Manipur on Monday. After the meeting, the centre deployed 50 additional Central Armed Police Forces in Manipur. The Union Home Secretary is also in the state to oversee the situation. The political fallout of the violence is the NPP pulling out from Biren Singh government in Manipur, citing state government's failure to contain the crisis. The Congress also addressed the media on the Manipur crisis. The Congress blamed current government for the recent violence in the state and said that the Biren Singh's government has become dysfunctional. In other development, local BJP leaders in Jiribam put in their papers in protest. But first, let's listen in to what Conrad Sangma of the ruling Meghalaya party and the Chief Minister and Megha Chandra Singh, who is the PCC President of Congress in Manipur, had to say.
The situation in Manipur has been very disturbing, and we were very hopeful that with different steps we would be able to see the overall situation improve. But sadly, the situation has further deteriorated, and the National People's Party, the leaders, the MLAs all have strongly felt that we have lost the confidence in the current government that is there, led by Shri Biren Singh, and hence the National People's Party has decided to withdraw its support to the Biren-led government, keeping in mind the overall suffering and the situation that is there the people of Manipur are facing. This is not anything to do with any personal agenda or any personal individual's issue, but it is about the people of Manipur, and we are concerned, and we are hopeful that steps will be taken in the future to bring the situation under normalcy.
the most unprecedented turmoil, the most horrific human tragedy, the complete anarchy administrations under this double-engined government. There is no law, no order at all, no normal human activities over here in Manipur. It's really very painful for the entire people of Manipur. And abductions of innocent civilians is becoming very common, and also killing of innocent civilians, particularly women, children, small babies, infants. This is very unfortunate and very painful. So now I just want to urge the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, he should immediately visit Manipur. And if he has no time to visit Manipur, please give me the appointment. The leaders of Manipur, including the MLAs, ministers of the BJP, including the Congress MLAs and the political leaders. So, if he is given the appointment, we can come to Delhi and meet the Honorable Prime Ministers if he doesn't have the time to come to Manipur. And also, all sections of the people, not only this community who are conflicting there, all the sections of the people are suffering. And also, in the some months back, I personally visited to the PMO office and submitted a written invitations from my side as being the president of the Manipur Pradesh Congress Committee. I invited directly through the PMO office, but no reply at all. And also, the dignities of life of the civilians and politicians, political leaders, irrespective of all political leaders there, including the Congress, BJP is, every political parties is no more there. So, it is in fact, the violations of the provisions that we have in the Indian constitutions. Yeah, all these leaders of our state, Congress leaders, BJP leaders, everything under these double engines are under threat. We cannot say whatever we want to say in these democracies. We cannot express whatever we feel for the protection of life and the properties of the people.
Now let me introduce the panel. It's going to be a sort of a multi-layered conversation with multiple parts. This is the first part. I'm joined by Rajat Sethi, former political advisor to Biren Singh, CM Manipur. I'm joined by Lieutenant General retired Rameshwar Roy, who served as former DG Assam Rifles. Mr. P.K. Mishra, former ADG, BSF. T. Michael Howkip, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party. We tried getting Congress, but they were not on board. So I want to tell this to our viewers, that it's not as if that we have only BJP spokesperson. So we played their bites to put across the point of view. But nonetheless, it was their choice not to be on board for this discussion. So straight away to Rajat, to you first. I know you are here for a short time. My first question to you is, will it affect the longevity of the government in Manipur? And this political crisis, post-security crisis, what is the big picture emerging?
I think it is a social crisis, no doubt, of proportions that independent India has barely seen. We are at a cusp where, the the future roadmap seems very, very hazy. I wouldn't have used these words, say 6 months back, 7 months back, where I still felt that there is some ground which couldn't be created for both the parties to come together. I don't want to belittle this crisis from political, positions like what is going to happen to the government and all. Government, from by sheer numbers, your viewers can easily understand that BJP government as such, just from assembly strength, is not under threat. And NPP has had a very distraught relationship with the BJP in the state of Manipur, even in the first term of N. Biren Singh. So I will not go into that. But if there is anything that the political class of Manipur can do to address this issue, address and calm the nerves of people there, they should do that. Because people of Manipur, and especially the valley people, they have, even in the past, almost 2 decades back, when this event happened against the Naga community, and the interlocutor then, or the national security advisor then, used this term of on the Naga talks,
Needs
used this
to
term
stop
of
somewhere. It
no.
has been 1.5 years. I know you are not the spokesperson of Biren Singh anymore, so it's not incumbent on you to take any position. But I think buck needs to stop somewhere.
Yes, and political heads is the easy head that you can put a gun on. The public puts a gun on politicians' head every 5 years. What about the bureaucracy? What about the armed forces that are there? Everybody needs to have a fair share of responsibility in this whole thing. Political class foremost. The first head that should roll is of the political class. But there are other important stakeholders in the security establishment who should also be held responsible for the deepening crisis in the state of Manipur. There are 2 very senior retired army and BSF personnel also on your show. They should also come out and say there are almost a deployment of 70,000 armed forces in the state of Manipur. And I can imagine they can't raise arms against their own citizens, but there have to be some protocols to be put in place such that, violent attacks on camps, attacks and molestations of women and rape of women do not happen. Ultimately, I don't
Okay.
think that the security establishment is reporting to the chief minister at all. It is
Okay.
reporting to the security advisor there.
Okay, let
And
me take.
to
ठीक
the
है,
home minister.
ठीक है, but this is a position, this is a situation, this is a structure that has been put in position by the decisions taken in Delhi
But
by senior
who's
leadership.
going to hold that accountable? That apparatus has to be held accountable as well.
Apparatus had to be
Yes.
accountable. Let me take this question to this people who had really served our armed forces, had been at the head of the institutions. So first to you, General Roy, and then I'll go to Mr. Mishra. To you, would you like to respond to it?
Karthikeya, my first puzzle is that this violence has been now going on for last year and a half nearly. And I have not seen a single instance in this country in my 42 years of service wherein the armed forces were called in to control a situation and situation was not controlled. This also includes a very high level of insurgency which had started in Mizoram, wherein even the Air Force was used by the armed forces during that time, and that is the single instance where the air power was used against the militants, but situation was under control. So has been the case in J&K, where the level of violence had peaked in the 90s. So therefore, my first question is, I do not know, while my earlier earlier speaker, he did say that total 70,000 security forces are deployed there and they respond to the security advisor. But my question here is that what is the proportion of, or what is the quality of these security forces? That is issue number one. What is the synergy between these forces deployed with the local police there and the local civil bodies which are there? Because in all such cases, the armed forces are in aid to civil authorities. The question number three is that IMPHAL was the only area where Armed Forces Special Power Act was not effective. Has that situation been changed? Is the Armed Forces Special Power Act now applicable in the city of IMPHAL also or not? So, unless I have these inputs, I will not be able to comment in totality, but suffice to say that not in the past ever since independence that the armed forces were called in to control a situation, including 84 riots. That situation was not being able to be controlled. So here, the dynamics at play where situation is not being able to be controlled are very, very different. And many times on this very show, there have been instances where even the narratives had been played up, where the information has been played up, it has been given and then denied. So therefore, here in this particular case, it appears to be a very, very strange situation. I do not have all the inputs available to me to very effectively comment on this issue which was raised by the earlier speaker.
Okay, Mr. Mishra? But let me tell you, Mr. Roy, that I do allow speakers to have their point of view. I don't curb them. The only line which I don't allow is when there is a blatant blame game that happens. Or someone wants to say that the people who were shot by CRPF were not militants. They were freedom fighters. Those lines I don't allow people to cross. I don't make it into a sport where security forces become it's easy to slap them, That I don't allow. Rest, it's permissible. Those are my red lines. Mr. Mishra.
Yes, Mr. Karthikeya, I can well tell that what's happening now in not only in IMPHAL, all over Manipur, things have gone out of control. What both the speakers, they were now telling, definitely we have about 70,000 forces, but we have to see how they are being deployed. How the counterinsurgency greed and IS greed is being looked into, and who will be passing the order. If the security advisor post was made there in Manipur, the CM could have objected that even he was there on the chair advising the Honorable CM. If somebody is there directly looking after the security part of it, not answerable to the Chief Minister, he could have objected. And the way the Chief Minister is helpless not to visit, he cannot visit some areas of his own state. It is really a sorry state of affairs. Second point, we have 70,000 troops. If it is so, the Honorable CM could have informed the Home Ministry of Home Affairs to send few battalions to block Myanmar border. That was not done. I can well tell, we have made several operations there in Manipur. This is, when it is the harvesting time, we know it pretty well. The people will go to harvest it in plain areas. The fire is coming from the hills. What of the deployment on the hills to stop the firing coming from the hills? Can't we block it? There are places where operations were held in Sajik Tampak behind and Singhat and Shanghai Court and all those areas. So somebody has to take the responsibility. The responsibility of all political leaders from all political parties, so as also all the security leaders, the commanders of security forces. But what has now happened? Things are very bad.
Okay, you have made your point. Things are very bad. There are three parts of this discussion. It's time for a short break, but the first part would be, suddenly the AFSPA has become a bone of contention. One, when MHA ensured that the AFSPA is enforced in the 6th police station, subsequently within 72 hours, there's a letter which goes from IMPHAL to Delhi that it should be revoked. One, that would be the one contour of discussion. It sends the signal of dissonance, not on the same page. Secondly, the question to you, Mr. Haukeb, would be, what's happening in Jiribam? I heard a lot of BJP leaders had put in their papers. How is Mar community put in there after the Jiribam development? And the third is foremost is that this episodic but highly worrisome cycle of lawmakers being attacked in the valley. Again and again, and their houses being ransacked. I'll be back after a short break.
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe. Prepare for breathtaking performance. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
यही मौका है बिजनेस को बढ़ाने का।
पर पैसा, अपनी सुपर पावर यूज करने का टाइम आ गया है।
आप टेंशन मत लीजिए, IIFL फाइनेंस से झटपट गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और बिजनेस आगे बढ़ाइए।
आपके जैसे सुपर हीरोज ऐसी छोटी मोटी प्रॉब्लम से थोड़ी ना रुकते हैं, इसीलिए लाइफ जब भी आगे बढ़ने का मौका दे तो अपनी सुपर पावर, अपना गोल्ड यूज करिए और IIFL फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए।
IIFL फाइनेंस करता है सीधी बात।
Hello, what's up everyone? While writing lifestyle articles, I am Shanli Arora. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to our show, Love It or List It. That happens to be my vlog as well. I am Shanli Arora, a lifestyle content writer and a part-time vlogger. While writing for lifestyle articles, my interest on the topic took me to vlogging for the same. So, we are gonna go and explore really fun lifestyle upgrades for you guys. Let's go guys. Mix कर दिया.
Army and Assam Rifles conducted flag operations, flag marches, and DG of CRPF is also in Manipur. Home Secretary has rushed to Manipur. NI has taken charges of the 3 cases related to the Jiribam. AFSPA, as a backdrop I'm telling you, was reimposed in 6 police stations in 5 valley districts last week. The state government appealed to the centre to revoke the reimposition of AFSPA, and many valley-based civil society groups have also voiced their discontent against the reimposition of this law. And we will come to this issue that was it a spontaneous response in street or some vested interest created too much of noise around it, which was a executive decision by Ministry of Home Affairs. Let's listen to Mr. Joy Kumar and Rahul Gandhi. These are 2 political bites, and then straight away we'll dip into the Jiribam and the AFSPA issue.
मणिपुर में जो हो रहा है पूरे देश को मालूम है। 1.5 साल हो गए मणिपुर हिंदुस्तान का स्टेट है, मगर प्रधानमंत्री आज तक मणिपुर नहीं गए हैं। और मणिपुर में मैं गया हूं, मैंने अपनी आंखों से जो हो रहा है देखा है। हमारी पूरी सपोर्ट है। हमने सरकार को कहा है कि जल्दी से जल्दी हिंसा को बंद कीजिए, मगर नहीं हो रहा है। और इसमें वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट किसी का तो है। होम मिनिस्टर जी को अपना काम करना चाहिए, मगर किसी न किसी कारण होम मिनिस्टर अपने काम में इंटरेस्ट नहीं ले रहे हैं। मगर जो मणिपुर में हो रहा है पूरा देश जानता है, बिल्कुल गलत हो रहा है और हिंसा को एकदम वहां पे बंद होना चाहिए। और एक बार फिर शांति आनी चाहिए.
The reason behind this is we have been given unconditional support to this government, and also right from the day, that is the 3rd of May, we have been also been interacting with them, making suggestions of how about bringing normalcy to the state. I mean, we have given a number of suggestions. These have not been acted upon. At the same time, the party, the government on its own has not been able to control the law and order situation in the state. And as you know, recently this killing of the 6 civilians, including 3 children, innocent people, at the hands of the cookie. This has really aggravated the situation much more.
Let me straight away go to Michael Lamjatang Hauke, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party. Michael, you also, apart from the spokesperson, has been a victim. Your house was burnt. Your ancestral property was destroyed. How do you see this spate of violence that has engulfed the state in last 7 days?
Kartike, I give my respect and homage to all those who have lost their life in the past 10 days due to the fresh violence in Jiribam. And secondly, Jiribam has got one MLS, and the MLA belongs to JDU, and there is no BJP MLS. And since because of the violence and the killings, the workers of the BJP are helpless despite having power at the central and the state. So many of the BJP leaders in Jiribams, in view of helplessness, have resigned from the BJP. Whether it will help them or not, that's a different thing, but that must be a kind of satisfaction and emotional outburst from their part, and that's quite unfortunate from the BJP side also. And thirdly, you see, peace is relevant now. It is also relevant in the past, and it is required in the future also. And peace and violence becomes a new normal in Manipur, which is quite very sad. And this peace is a national concern, and it's an international concern also. So, and peace becomes a burden only for one particular tribes in Manipur, that's the Thadou tribe. So it feels like peace is only advocated by the Thadou people. So that's quite unfortunate. So peace should be preached by each and every one of us. This is the first thing which I want to appeal to the people of Manipur. And also regarding the violence, so there are lots of interference here and there, and even from the Mizoram side also, things has gone sensationalized, and the position of the Mizoram government is also quite clear that they will not entertain any kind of spewing venoms or hatred towards the Meiteis or the Manipur communities. So I think in the case of this newspaper violence, the MHA has also taken a swift decision that first and foremost, that after the killing in Zairon, then they have taken a decision to reimpose back AFSPA in six police stations covering 5 districts, both hills and valley, and that have hearted the sentiment of the Meitei people. AFSPA basically is just only a legal backing, whether the armed forces, how far they can operate, or it's a military exercise to control the mobs or to the rights. It's a kind of backing. But even in AFSPA areas in the hills also, there you can see lots of militants, the Kuki militants roaming freely with their own arms, security like just behaving like a watchman. So the sentiment of the Meitei is also respected, and then but for the government of India also, like I say, peace restoration in Manipur becomes a national, international concern. They have to step in.
Played out.
They have
Fair enough. Rajat has to go. I'll come to you. Rajat, the visuals which I have played it out, this is what is happening. Civil society actors have taken better of. Civil society actors have taken better of the state structures. You just saw those visuals.
Yeah. See, my understanding of the situation is that every time violence starts, there is a cascading sequence of events of more violence, and that sort of takes the situation completely out of control. I think, look at this current past week or so and the sequence of events. First, a Mar woman was actually molested, apparently raped, and burnt alive. After that event, the cookies they sought revenge, and they attacked one of the camps, and they CRPF came in the line of fire, and CRPF attacked back, and there was death of 10 people who came in to attack a camp. And thereafter, the cookies, further to avenge the death, they went in and first kidnapped these six individual, three women and three children, and then they killed them. My problem is that there are no buffers, civil society based buffers. If a wrong is happening, between that and any kind of an escalation, the civil societies should come out and either hold people responsible or identify people within their own community to hold them responsible before the things slip out of control. Here, once the cookie or a Mar woman who was raped, it should have been the Meitei women who should have come out and protested. Why did Meitei men attack? Apparently, again, this is part of investigation. I don't know. If at all a Meitei mob had attacked that cookie woman, it should have been the Meitei women who should have stepped in and gone beyond their lines, communal lines, and tried to address the situation before things go and spiral out of control.
But Rajat, that's what makes it an ethnic. That's what
civil societies have also failed.
That's what makes it an ethnic violence, Rajat. Na? Things don't work at the level of gender. They are working at the level of ethnicity.
It's a non-stop cycle. Today, the civil society in Manipur are going after attacking the houses of these politicians. What do they end up gaining with that exercise? Do they stand to gain anything? The problem is that till there is no common concern in each other's hearts and minds.
Let me ask tough questions now. Let me ask tough questions. General Roy, two questions to you. One, who controls the civil society? That's one, point blank. But how are they operating? I'm sure they're not operating in vacuum. That's one, sir. And secondly, I mean, just a center takes a decision on AFSPA. I mean, so how does it become politicized and a letter goes back to New Delhi that it should be taken back? Two questions to you, sir.
I think first question first. You see, civil societies in any state are being controlled or being taken care of by the state administration. Here is a situation where the state administration seems to have not really sort of responded in a manner of their responsibilities as it should happen. Now, when you talk of the Armed Forces Special Power Act, this is firstly on the request of a state where the Armed Forces Special Power Act is applied. Application of this does not give you much of enhanced power except to say that a synergy is added between all the people who work under this particular framework. Now, how does the synergy get added up? There's a process, and the process says that whatever forces are operating in a particular area, they operate under a single commander. And then many areas put together, all those single commanders, then they are responded or they are responsible to a unified command. I have been hearing about it on this debate as well as many other debates, not for 1.5 years, last year and a half. Security advisor is one issue, but has the state gone into forming a unified command? Issue number one. Has the int agencies, has the civil police, local police over there and the other outfits which are there to do with the security are operating under a single command? Are these resources being judicially deployed and redeployed as per the situation that demands their shifting? Is it being done under that unified command or not? We have operated wherever we have. We are very clear that you are responsible to a unified command in that particular area where the Armed Forces Special Power Act has been applied. And that responsibility, which is to a single commander there, then goes to the state administration there. Could be chief minister, could be security advisor, could be whosoever. And from there on, it comes to the center, because all these forces which are operating in a particular state, the moment Armed Forces Special Power Act has been applied, which is on the request of the state but on the behest of the center, then everything gets controlled from the center. In this particular case, I find that there has been most of the time all kinds of statements being issued, the play of words happening, but I do not see much of an action on the ground in terms of the implementation of whatever is to be done in order to control that situation in that particular area. And that is a simple point, that there appears to be no single commander under whom all these forces are operating, and there is no unified command in all these areas. Therefore, there is a lack of intelligence. You as a security forces, we as security forces, we cannot operate in a vacuum. The ground inputs have to be coming, and therefore we have to be ready for those, and that is the way we control these mobs, that is the way we control such violence, and that is the way these things get controlled. Now, in 1.5 years, I still do not understand how these two communities, Maitis and Kukis themselves, have drawn their no man land in between and separated themselves within the state as if they belong to two different states. I don't think there is a single example of this type anywhere in the country in the last since independence, and we are mute witness to this. And this particular gap, I am telling you, we will not be able to fill it up in a short while. And not only this, on 7th of November. Just recently,
absolutely,
the Muhiba itself, Muhiba has also issued a statement. Now the pressure is increasing in other states that if this can be done here, they can go in for their Greater Nagaland dream also. If you read that 5-page statement which has been issued on 7th of November, it's very scary to me that they are threatening the government of India that if you don't abide by the agreement which was signed on 5th of August 2015, we will do whatever is possible to protect our people and all.
Absolutely.
So therefore, let's look at the bigger picture. We are getting into very, very small issue of this Manipur. 1.5 years, if you let these things boil the way they are, and you allow the violence to surge time and again in a manner that it is, I think there's a very, very bad signature.
No, I absolutely agree with you, General Roy, because people has to understand that the violence changes the shape and nature of a civil society. Absolutely. It brutalizes it, whether it's Rwanda, South Africa, all those global experiences are there. The nature of the society changes, and it is very difficult to set the clock back. It never comes back. You then deal with different people, different civil structures, and it becomes immensely problematic for security forces to control and shape the narrative, which should be working within the larger confines of nation or the confines of the nation state. It's time for a short break. Then I'll come to you, Mr. Mishra, and then to Mr. Haukip, to you. I have a specific question on Jiribam, but after a short break. Okay, now let me play out a bite of a protester, and then I will straight away go to Mr. Mishra. Let's play that bite out.
सरकार से तो हमारा डिमांड जो है बहुत ही सिंपल डिमांड है। हम चाहते हैं कि जो कुकी और हमारे बीच में जो तनाव है वो शांत हो जाए। लेकिन जो यहाँ पर आज हम यहाँ बैठे हैं, इसका एक खास वजह है। खास वजह यह है कि जो जीरी घाट से, जो जीरी से हमारे 6 लोग जो जिनमें से जो 6 स्त्रियां हैं, 3 स्त्रियां हैं करेक्शन, और 3 बच्चे हैं, उनको जो कुकी टेररिस्ट है उनको पकड़ कर ले गए हैं, और बाद में पता चला कि उनको नदी में मारने के बाद बहा दिया गया है। उसमें से 5 जो बॉडी है वो रिकवर हुआ है, 1 लेडी का जो है बॉडी अभी तक रिकवर नहीं हुआ है। हमारा जो यहाँ पर आज जो हंगर स्ट्राइक है, ये रिले हंगर स्ट्राइक है। इसमें जो है हम जो पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, जो रिपो कंस्टिट्यूएंसी से 41 हमारे क्लब्स हैं, और मेरा पाइबी जो है 54 है, उन सबको मिलाकर आज हम बारी बारी से रिले हंगर स्ट्राइक कर रहे हैं। रिले हंगर स्ट्राइक का हमारा मकसद है, हमने गवर्नमेंट से ये डिमांड किया है कि 48 घंटे के अंदर में जो कल्प्रिट्स हैं, जिन्होंने जो है औरतें और जो बच्चों को जो किडनैप करके उनका जो हत्या किया है, उनको पकड़ा जाना चाहिए। अगर 48 घंटे के अंदर में उनका जो कोई एक्शन नहीं हुआ, अगर नहीं पकड़ा गया, तो हमारा ये हंगर स्ट्राइक कंटिन्यू चलता रहेगा। ये हमारा डिमांड है। जो है आज यहाँ पर जो बैठे हुए हमारे जो है क्लब्स के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं, जो बारी बारी से बैठे हुए हैं, उनका यही मकसद है कि गवर्नमेंट जल्दी से जल्दी, यानी हमने जो 48 घंटे का उनको जो टाइम दिया हुआ है, उसके अंदर उनको पकड़ा जाना चाहिए। ये हमारा डिमांड है।
Okay. Mr. Mishra, apart from the fact that the kidnappings and counter-kidnappings have taken place, do you think that the state will be able to deal with the complexity that AFSPA's imposition in 6 police stations itself has become contested?
Yes, Karthikeya, I can well tell you the AFSPA, which was again promulgated in 6 police stations, definitely this was required because the ground situation warranted this. And for the revocation of it, what it was, how it was written by the state government again to Ministry of Home Affairs to revoke it, that is the issue that was written under pressure. The COCOMI's pressure, and particularly the people of IMPHAL, they protested, and that is how state government backed down and they had to write it. But I can well tell you, AFSPA that was promulgated in all these 6 police stations, that was required, and it could have been much before. It could have been done much before. Just see the number of weapons we have in these areas. It is not only in the hill areas. And see, Jiribam is a small place. And if so many incidents have happened, even yesterday also, Congress office and BJP office, they were ransacked, and so many incidents of looting, arson, and firing on CRPF camp, and molesting of ladies, kidnapping, and burning of houses. This should not have happened in that place because Jiribam should have been controlled. I hope as AFSPA has been promulgated, now we have already provided 20 companies, and Mr. Anish Dayal, our DG CRPF, is already there. 50 more companies, okay. That is 35 from CRPF and 15 from BSF. They are also rushing, and Home Secretary himself will be there with the CRPF DG. I hope Jiribam has to be controlled. This is high time. If a small place, if a small block and police station cannot be controlled with so many police forces and security forces have.
Okay. These are the latest visuals that we are beaming in from IMPHAL. Mr. Hauke, what's happening? There is a spate of meetings that is taking place at Biren Singh's residence. There is another meeting that he has called now. He's chairing a meeting.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a press conference by the Chief Minister, and also subsequent meeting was supposed to be taken up. So I think I was supposed to look at the press conference because of this, it collides with this, so I could not have a look. But I think there is a press conference held by the Chief Minister.
You're saying that's a press conference held by Chief Minister. I'm also joined by Mr. Suhas Chakma, Director Rights Group. Thank you so much, Suhas, for joining me. We've been trying to get through you. Suhas, you always give the other side of the picture, and you always say that, the bigger picture gets lost if we only keep the security perspective. I always say that security perspective is important, especially in context of Northeast. But coming to you, for the other side or the other view, why did violence escalate so much in 7 days?
Well, I think
is there a particular event associated with it which people don't want to talk about? Is there something, was there an event which flared up, created this flare up?
Not necessarily. I think it's just that we live in wrong presumptions that when the killings do not take place, Manipur is getting back to normalcy. The key issue is the lack of communication or any kind of understanding between these two communities, and these are very difficult issues. The only way the government could have resolved this issue is by providing adequate powers to the security forces. See, the issue is it doesn't matter how many troops you employ or deploy in Manipur. The issue is, do the security forces enjoy adequate powers to enforce just normal law and order situation? The answer is no. It's because the political leadership knows that if you attack certain civilians, then it immediately gets out of control. Just imagine the mother of 6 people, the kind of impact is happening. So now tomorrow, if there is a clash between some civilian groups from either community and the security forces use violence or are forced to use violence, and it leads to killing of 10 people, what kind of impact it would have? So there is fear, and that's why the security forces in Manipur, as I always said, they are in a sort of peacekeeping operation without using force. So if you can't use the force, you are not going to control the situation. It's just as I said, in Delhi and elsewhere, when there are no reports of killing, people think, oh, it's getting back to normalcy, it's limping back to normalcy. It is not getting back to normalcy, because still, the chief minister or the representative of the 2 communities cannot sit across together. So we are not realizing one particular problem, that, the entire administration, starting with the chief minister up to the Thana level, I think they have failed. And 1.5 years is a long time, and it's time that you change it. So if you add more troops at the commands of the chief minister is not going to use it, because chief minister knows it very well. If mates are killed, he is gone for it. His own personal safety and security is at stake. In Manipur,
what really worries me as a citizen is when your elected members get delegitimized through the process of violence. It is a bigger issue for the state, because a democratic country runs through the elected representative. The violence is not only brutalizing the society, but delegitimizing the electoral process. If they don't hold good, then what will happen? Like Bangladesh, mobocracy, Islamists taking over the streets.
Well, mobocracy is ruling Manipur. You like or dislike it from both sides. And I'm talking about one particular side. In both sides, mob decide what's the next course. And is it possible to find some kind of consensus with the mob? Absolutely not. So that's why I think the key issue for the MLS, I'm still saying that the key issue is personal safety and security. Please remember, when the ceasefire with the Nagas were extended to cover Naga inhabited areas without reference to Manipur, you had the entire state assembly burned down. And I had seen the way people had come in, thousands when they were protesting in 2004 after the killing of Mandorama Devi. So you have to understand that there is a mob sentiment there. That has been the pattern. And if the situation is not brought under control, then it will repeat. So the only option for the central government is to have some kind of precedence rule. And what, people usually say, it's the same BJP rule. No, it's not the same BJP rule. I think at this point of time, the security forces are not being given adequate powers, and it's something which can be brought under control. I don't think the situation is so bad.
I think this question needs to be answered by General Roy. Mobocracy, because Suhas keeps on writing on Bangladesh. He has been petitioning United Nations on the issue of the Hindu rise, the Chakmas in Chittagong hill track, and he's been doing it very diligently. So yes, I agree with him. Mob has an upper hand, sir. How do you break that upper hand, sir?
See, Karthikeya, there are many firsts that can be attributed to this particular state in last year and a half that the violence has been going on. Some of the first I already mentioned. One major first, again, you are seeing it, we all are seeing it ourselves. Elected members of the state, the MLAs, as well as I believe even the CM's house, ancestral house has been under attack. So if such a disconnect has already occurred, which we can see it on the ground, between the elected representatives and the people who elected them, there is absolutely clear signal that this government has lost its technical or whichever way you want to put it, a mandate to govern the state any further. And therefore I quite agree with Mr. Chakma when he recommends that this is the right time, that having watched the situation, given 1.5 years to the chief minister and the elected government to control the state, if that has not happened. Now it's high time that the president rule is imposed and all this comes under the control of the center, and therefore the situation, until it becomes normal, no elections can be held there. Again, I am saying again and again that this separation of Chakmas, separation of Maitis and Cookies has happened for the first time. And for the first time, also when I was posted in Mizoram in 1976, I have actually handled this Chakma tribes there in place. And I can relate to all the sentiments which have been there, because my first exposure to Northeast was in 1975, and thereafter I have been 5 odd times I have been posted there, and each time posting gave me 2 to 3 years to stay there. So by and large, even here, if you see the graph, till 2013, the violence in Manipur has been very, very low, despite the fact the roadblocks used to occur. The people and all these Maitis and Cookies communities were very, very peaceful, and absolutely there was no discord between them. But slowly, yes, I remember in 2016 when Ibobi Singh was the chief minister, he came out with this creation of more states, because more districts, because until then the Manipur had about 9 districts, 5 in the hill areas and 4 in the plain areas. Thereafter he created 6 more districts, because he wanted to scuttle the agitation by Nagas, who wanted the districts where Nagas are predominant, like Ukhrul, Churachandpur, Chandel, such like districts, the Senapati. So they wanted to amalgamate that in the greater Nagalim, and to scuttle that, those are the hill areas. The Ibobi Singh created more districts, and by doing that, even Cookies were happy, because the districts were created in the hill areas. The reason was basically not to allow Naga move to get those areas into the Naga limb. That was his idea. But, in a way, Cookies were happy that more district would mean that, improvement of administration and all. So therefore, I find that this kind of a hatred which has now developed between two communities, and they have literally separated themselves within a state. I'm sorry, absolutely sorry, and it boggles my mind how this can be allowed to happen over a period of time, and that itself is such a bad signal for northeastern states, where everywhere there is a spillover, a demographic spillover in one way or the other. Even the Chin tribes have a spillover in Mizoram.
I think the most important points that you made in this discussion was that perhaps Manipur is one state where, despite so much of deployment, despite so much of focus by security forces, violence, instead of coming down, has gone up. And this is happening for the first time in independent India. Wherever Indian forces have been applied, violence has been curtailed, or there is some sort of an equilibrium, a sort of an engagement. It has come down, but it has not become bigger, deeper.
Sorry to interrupt. The simple conclusion is that the security forces also have to have a synergy with the state administration. Unless they get the inputs, unless they get the intelligence, unless they get the information, how do they operate? I mean, you can't operate in a vacuum. And in this particular case, I think that is totally missing.
Absolutely right. I think on this note, I'll conclude this program, and I thank all of you for participating in this conversation. There is a press conference of the Chief Minister that is expected. He is holding a meeting. One does not know what are the points of discussion that will be taken up. I leave you with the bite of Megha Chandra Singh. Megha Chandra Singh is the Pradesh Congress Committee President. They held a press conference in Delhi, though the Congress did not join our conversation. So I'm leaving you with a couple of reactions.
Whatever the statement has been made by the Honorable Home Ministers, it is whatever he said, it is not in the field. It is not practicable. It is not applied in the state of Manipur. So he has stated many times in different ideas or for resolving this situation, but that is not there. That is not effective in the state of Manipur. We are in a very painful stage there. Every civilians now are very painful. So the center has already, it is totally neglected the issues of Manipur. It's like a forgotten state of India. And Manipur is totally neglected by these prime ministers, home ministers, and even the chief ministers of Manipur. He is not doing what is responsible in this state.